All right, good morning, everyone. Great to see you. Thank you for joining. So we got a lot to do today. So you guys have kind of double what morning classes had to do. And that's just because we got to move you guys through since you have an extra part that you guys are going to have to learn during this chapter. Plus, I think you'll catch on pretty quick today, but it is really important that you're going to pay attention to kind of the hints that I'm giving you, because when you go to do this yourself on your assignment today, start running through the process. It's going to feel slow. You're going to be like, well, why don't I just multiply it? Why don't I just divide it? You are. But run yourself through the process today in order to kind of expand on it when we get to stoichiometry. All right. So my biggest recommendation is don't shut me down. Not shut me down, but don't shut down and don't kind of multitask during the lesson today, because you really want to get yourself into the habit and follow those couple hints that I'm going to give you in order to always set it up correctly. Okay. Biggest mistake people make in this section is they're like, well, I'm just going to multiply this number and it'll work out. No, that's not always the case. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this stuff. So, and just heads up, I did see quite a bit of people who did not do the assignment yesterday. You're going to need that. You're going to need the skills that were built in that assignment. So you got to know what a molar mass is. All right. Give me one tiny second, and then I'm going to get things shared with you guys. Sorry, give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Alrighty. So basically when we go to our little folder for this week, right? So we have our Unit 8 folder. We're in this week. We have our objectives. We look at Thursday. Okay, so don't forget, you do need stuff about molar mass, so it'll be helpful to go through that, okay? But we will define a mole, and we're going to learn basic dimensional analysis to kind of go between moles and mass, okay? So you do have your little assignment down here. This video right here is like a 3-minute video. You can try that, but I'm thinking if you need a little bit of help, which I'm seeing the people who have turned in the assignment today, I'm seeing which ones you're getting wrong, and you really need the help with the setup. So take notes while we're on this little Zoom call, or take your time and go through the slow video to make sure you understand what's going on, okay? All right, so what I'm going to go to is I'm going to go ahead and share a little Jamboard link to you. And you are more than welcome to join me on there, or you can watch your Zoom screen today, okay? I will be switching between a periodic table. So I would say if you do have a periodic table handy, I would have that ready to go so that you can look at it with me, okay? So if you do not have a periodic table, remember you can get that right from that resources page, the first materials page. You can always get it from there, all right? Otherwise, once I give you access to look at this page, or you can make yourself a copy, you'll be able to zoom in on that little thing. All right. So here we go. Okay. So molar mass was something that we did yesterday. So before we do that, let's review just a tiny bit about those chemical reactions, okay? Because those are not going away, and for sure they're not going away for y'all. So right here, what we have is we have lead 2 nitrate. Okay, this is a little 3, by the way. And we have potassium iodide. So we have a compound with a compound. So this would look like AB plus CD. What type of reaction are we dealing with there? What type of reaction are we dealing with? AB plus CD. Or compound plus compound. What's going on there? Double displacement. Good. So double date gone wrong, right? So basically A is going to switch with C. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you this answer because I feel like when we get to I think in 2 chapters, we're going to be on solutions. You'll have to do it yourself. So maybe watch it, kind of take it in. So what we've got is A and C are going to be replacing each other, right? So we're going to move that potassium back here with nitrate. What I'm doing in my brain right now is I'm saying, okay, that had a positive one. This has a -1 charge. You crisscross them. They cancel out. Then we're going to add in our lead to iodide. So we're going to have Pb, who has a +2 charge, and that iodine, who has a -1. We crisscross those. We end up with the little 2 on the outside. Okay. All right, cool. So that's number 1. Just want to review that. Now we have, for number 2, I have calcium plus oxygen. What type of reaction is that going to be? Synthesis. Good. Awesome. So this is the one where we have A plus B. This is the get together, right? So this is synthesis. So what we're going to do in order to combine these together is we have calcium, who has a +2 charge. By the way, these charges I'm not just pulling out of midair. Calcium is in group 2. If you remember, we had a whole section where we had to combine things together, right? +1, +2, +3, -1, -2, -3, right? So +2, oxygen is over here in group 16. So he has a -2 charge. So we're going to have oxygen with that -2. We crisscross those guys. We end up with calcium oxide, just one of each. They canceled each other out, those 2 and 2. All right, so now we have calcium oxide. So that, step 2, we're good. Step 3, what is the molar mass of the products from number 2? All right, so this is the lesson from yesterday, those of you who skipped that one. All right, so we have calcium oxide, and I want to know, what is the molar mass? So just so we know, I put big M for molar mass because it is an important number, and you got to know how to do it, and I need a way to put the symbols on the little chart so that you guys can kind of follow along. So here, molar mass. So this is a quick review from yesterday. Where do we look for molar masses? All right, I got private chat. Good. So we have the periodic table. We got to look at the periodic table. So we have calcium over here, right? Calcium. So calcium has a molar mass or an atomic mass of 40.078. Remember, the definition of this molar mass was saying that 40.078 grams per 1 mole of calcium. That's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles, right? So that many particles weighs 40.078 grams. Okay. Then we have oxygen. So oxygen we find on the periodic table right here. We have 15.999, right? So we have plus oxygen, which is going to be 15.999. And again, that is grams per mole. We take these individual pieces, we add them together to get that total molar mass, which I think those of you who did do the assignment, you did awesome. So great job with that, okay? So we're going to pull up our little calculator. We're going to type those in real fast. Maybe not. There it is. Okay. So we have 40.078 plus 15.999. All right. So I have 56.077. That right there is the molar mass of calcium oxide. So we're still going to use the unit grams per mole. And that would be our answer. Okay. All right. So looking at this next part, what we're seeing for number 4, because that was number 3, number 4 is describing, okay, if I have 5 grams of calcium, how many moles of calcium? Oh my goodness. So now we're relating grams to moles, but we learned yesterday that this was a thing and now it's confusing. Okay? So pay attention to today. One basic thing I need you to remember is down to the right. Okay? So when in doubt, down to the right. Down to the right, Miss Vogel, down to the right. I need you to remember that simple concept. You're going to take something, you're going to take words, and they go down to the right. And honestly, if you can remember that concept for this whole lesson and for this whole assignment today, you'll be fine. You'll breeze right through. Okay? Down to the right. Now, let me tell you why. Okay. If I were to give you this little formula, if I said, what is 7 divided by 7? Could you tell me what that answer is? 7 divided by 7. 1. Great. Okay, good. So what happens if I say, okay, well, what is unicorn divided by unicorn? So I got a private chat of a unicorn. I'm getting 1 from some of the other chats. So what is it? So if I take unicorn divided by unicorn, it's the same concept. So it is going to be 1. All right. It is going to be 1. And anything times 1, it is itself. So this right here, this fundamental idea that word divided by word is going to cancel out. It doesn't just disappear. It turned into the number 1. And that is why it's going to be important to take some sort of a word and bring it down to the right. You need these to cancel out. You're going to see this show up in your assignment today. Okay? We need things to cancel out. That is your goal. All right, I'm going to switch over to slide 2. So if you're still joining me on the Jamboard. All right, so I'm going to just kidding. That's not going to work. Let me see if I can make this bigger. I can make it like a title. All right, cool. So I'm just going to scroll this up. All right, so back to the question. If I used 5 grams of calcium, how many moles of that? All right, so question. I'm going to give you another scenario down here. All right. So we've now seen we're like, okay, so she wants us to put word over word so that they cancel out. Yeah, that's what we've been doing in math. Great. Let's keep moving. So now what I want to give you is a new scenario. I want to say, okay, let's say I have a little box. And in this box, I have little kittens that are all just sitting in there and they're like, meow, meow, whatever. So this box weighs 15 pounds with all the kittens in it. All right. The box is negligible, so we don't care. All right. 15 pounds of kittens. If each little kitten is 5 pounds, would you be able to tell me how many kittens there are? Three. Yeah, totally. 3, right? And what you did was you took 15 divided by 5 because you're like, well, if I have this much and I divide it by each individual mass, then I get the number that we have. That is the same exact math that's going to be used up here. Okay, so 5 grams of calcium. All right, so if I know that I have 5 grams of calcium and I want to know moles, then I need to know how many per mole. That's where yesterday comes into play. All right, and even if today on the assignment, when I give you a compound, that's where yesterday comes into play. We have to get that molar mass. All right, molar mass is what's going to get you through this. So we're going to go ahead and use the molar mass of calcium, which is 40.078. I pulled that from the periodic table. All right, so I'm going to put PT right here, periodic table. Make sure you look at it. All right, 40.078 grams per 1 mole. All right, so if I know that's this one, I'm going to go ahead and put this word. 40.078 grams per 1 mole of calcium, right? Okay, so knowing that, now let's look at how we're going to set this up. Because today you're going to see a T-chart on your assignment, all right? So you're going to have 5 grams of calcium. That I am pulling from the problem. That always goes in box number 1. Always. Whatever is given to you goes in box number 1. You'll see that this one will be crossed out. In the future, you might not see it crossed out. Just assume you don't put anything down here. All right, that was given to you. All right, you're also going to see that I put this and I put this on the images today. Okay, what this is telling you is that you multiply across and divide down. All right, I have had students in the past who do parentheses around this whole second part and they just multiply across. Like they multiply it by a fraction. That's fine. It's the same kind of math. So whatever works. All right. You might also see in the example video that he goes like this. And then he puts your something here and something here, right? It's the same exact thing. The T-chart just makes it prettier and it makes it fit on your page and it keeps it organized. It keeps you organized. All right. Just wanted you to know that those are all the same thing. So I'm going to show you with this. Okay, and that's what I'm going to continue to use through stoichiometry. So do the basics. So just like we did on the slide before, right? The whole idea is we have to cancel things out. Unicorn divided by unicorn. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that grams of calcium. I'm going to bring this down to the right. Grams of calcium, because I know that grams of calcium divided by grams of calcium is 1. So they're going to cancel out, right? Okay. So grams of calcium came down to the right. We know that this is a thing, right? So if you think about what the definition of molar mass is, it is grams per 1 mole. All right, so look at these numbers. And we're going to put them where they belong. Well, moles needs to end up on top. So moles, or whatever you're being asked for, is going to be the word that ends up on top. So we need moles of calcium on top and grams of calcium on the bottom. Now we're going to throw in those numbers. So the 1 stays with the mole. The 40.078 is going to be down here. The way this is going to get typed into your calculator is we are going to multiply 5 times 1, push enter. Okay, and now, do I know that you guys could do this one in your head, the 5 times 1 part? Yes. However, get yourself into the habit because it's not always going to be 1. All right, get yourself into that habit of this technique so that we can just now expand it. Multiply, push equals, and then you're going to divide by whatever's on the bottom. Okay, so we end up with 0.125. And the moles of calcium are in the answer. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Okay, are there any questions, by the way, on that setup? We're all good? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to the next slide. All right, so what if, let me shrink this because I ended up using the wrong slide for that. All right, so what if now I am going to have 14.2 moles of nitrogen, okay? And I'm going to say, how many grams is that? Grams of nitrogen is that, okay? So grams of nitrogen from moles. So just like we did on the slide before, we're going to start with what's given to us. So 14.2 moles N. I'm going to have my T-chart. It's given to you today, but you're going to have to be able to do it. Remember, this one's crossed out. This is multiply. This is divide. And then equals. All right. So from here, what's the next step? Because we are not going to put grams down here. You're going to take the words. Notice I'm not even caring about numbers. I'm taking those words and I'm saying, oh, bring those down to the right. Now I'll kind of know where things are going to go. Moles goes down. We take what we're wanting, put that on top. All right, now let's think about what we need. We need a molar mass, right? So we need the molar mass of nitrogen. Molar mass of nitrogen, I'm going to look on my periodic table. Okay, molar mass of nitrogen is going to be 14.007 grams per 1 mole, right? Okay, well, looking here, this is set up really nicely. Grams, mole. So the 1 goes down here. My molar mass goes on top. Okay, so then we would type this in. We're going to go ahead and go to, darn it. Let me see if I can scroll. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go 14.2. We're going to multiply it by 14.007, push equals. I have that. That's the top. Now I'm going to divide by the bottom. End up with the same answer, obviously. Okay, so our answer is 198 and it was 899, so we're going to go 90. And then our units are going to be grams of nitrogen. So in a nutshell, okay, the setup is you start with what you're given. You have a question exactly like this, so I would write this one down. You start with what you're given. You bring those units down to the right. right? So you're going to bring words down to the right. And then you're going to end with whatever we need to relate it. So what that means is that if we're given moles, okay, so if I'm given moles and I'm trying to go to grams, moles starts up here, mole of A, okay? And then we're going to bring mole of A down here. And then we're going to end with grams of A. This is always a molar mass and a 1. This is whatever is given to you. If we're going the opposite direction, we're going to start with given grams of A, right? Words came down to the right. Opposite needs to go on top. So 1 mole, and then we have our molar mass. So in a nutshell, that's what you're doing. The only thing that happens on numbers 5, 6, and 7 is I give you a compound. But this process right here does not change. My only hint for that is find your molar mass first. Find molar mass first. Okay? All right. I'm going to let you guys go so that you guys have enough time to get your stuff done. Words down to the right. Words down to the right because unicorn divided by unicorn is 1. All right? See you tomorrow. Let me know if you need any help.